Capital News tonight. Heavy rains destroy Mpangwa Bridge, cutting off communication in various wards of Songea District, Ruvuma region. The anti-narcotics force seizes 30.6 kilos of heroin. And in sports, the national boxing team, Gome boxing team, have conducted a joint training in preparation for the Open Boxing Championship. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. Mpangwa Bridge, which connects Matarawe and Mjimwema wards, has been destroyed by heavy rain, cutting off links with 4 wards in Songea District, Ruvuma region. The manager of Urban and Rural Roads Agency, Tarura, has said measures are being taken to restore the road links.
People are forced to go round rather than using the shortcut, which takes longer. We're asking the people to conserve the environment, especially on the river coast. If you fail to do so, this is the consequence. The heavy rainfall makes it difficult to collect stones from the hill. If it doesn't rain again, we hope to finish the work.
The police force's anti-narcotics unit has seized 30.6 kilograms of heroin, 2.63 grams of marijuana, and 12.2 million shillings. The anti-narcotics force says 3 people have been detained in connection with the illegal narcotics trade business.
Wote hao walikusanywa kwa pamoja, tukaanza kuwahoji. Kimsingi walikiri kama dawa zote hizi zilizokamatwa kwa John Mlungwa zilikuwa zimetokea kwa Bwana Saidi Kesi Mbasha, na alikuwa akiendelea kuzisambaza kwao, na walikiri kama mzigo mwingine kwa bahati mbaya walikuwa wameshauza. Tulifuatilia tukagundua kweli zilikuwa zimeshauzwa, zingine zilikuwa zimeshapelekwa mikoani, ambako hata hivyo bado tunafuatilia kuona kwamba kama zitakuwa bado ziko kwenye mzunguko ili ziweze kukamatwa. Msingi kunakuwa na sehemu zile ambazo sio rasmi ambazo wanaweza wakapita.
Maize traders transporting the commodity to Kenya have complained of bureaucracy among some government executives from Kenya at Horohoro border post, a situation that has caused the traders to incur losses. However, Tanga Region Commissioner has assured that economic relations between the two countries are still cordial.
Katumia wakili wetu akaandika barua Ijumaa. Pati nzuri waziri wa kilimo Bwana Munya ameipokea.
Our attorney wrote a letter on Friday which was received by the Minister of Agriculture. We're asking for a report that will confirm our maize contains poison. On the 5th, there was a panic concerning maize export to Kenya. There was a letter that came from Kenya that maize from Tanzania was not permitted to enter Kenya.
Na sisi kama viongozi nataka tu niwaambie kwamba sisi kama viongozi tutawapa ushirikiano wafanya biashara wote.
As leaders, we shall offer assistance to our business operators, be it those coming from Kenya to trade in Tanzania or those coming from Tanzania to trade in Kenya. Relevant authorities will give necessary assistance to ensure trade goes on smoothly.
A fire whose cause has not yet been established has gutted a timber factory, including chicken incubators in Handeni District, Tanga region. Residents nearby turned up to put out the fire after the firefighting vehicle failed to work.
When we got here, the barn was already on fire. Machinery has been destroyed.
Moto umeanza kuwaka hapa tukakwa bila sababu hatujajua chanzo nini wala nini.
The fire started and we didn't know what might have caused it.
Changamoto ya gari yangu imesumbua katika mfumo wa pampu kidogo.
My vehicle had a faulty pump which can be corrected. However, we had an assistance from Korogwe.
Residents from 80 wards from Mwada village, Babati district, Manyara region, who are waiting to get compensated by the government after vacating their land to pave way for construction of an airport, have urged the government to speed up the processes so that they can look for other areas to construct their homes. For us to live next to the port, we want to know the boundaries early, and like how the situation is right now, we are living blindfolded. People from the responsible authority have toured the area several times. There are about 80 houses that were found within the airport. Landowners have been advised to move to the neighboring land. The Director General of the National Management Environment Council has warned employees of the council who collaborate with plastic importers that legal action will be taken against them. The warning comes a few days after consignment of plastic packaging worth 70 million shillings was seized at Buswelu area, Ilemela Municipal, Mwanza region.
Sasa hivi kuna wafanyakazi wengi ambao huwezi kuwakamata moja kwa moja. Lakini wakati mwingine unaweza kuwa unataka kwenda kukamata mahali taarifa zinafika kule kabla hujafika.
Currently, there are people whom you cannot easily arrest. In certain cases, they get tipped before you get to them, which makes things difficult.
Mara nyingi tunachukua hatua.
The Deputy Minister of State, Regional Administration and Local Government, David Selinde, has directed district councils in the country to look into why loan payments of the 10% loans given to entrepreneurs have not met government expectations.
Sababu lengo la serikali ya awamu ya 5 chini ya Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli ni kuwawezesha wananchi kiuchumi.
The fifth government under Dr. John Magufuli is to empower the people economically, but there have been reports by some public servants who are dishonest. They have been part of the people who have taken the loan, which has made it difficult to pay the money back.
Ambapo wamekuwa wakirejesha kila wakati.
Kama tulivyonyoshewa kidole kwamba vijana sio waaminifu.
This money belongs to the government and must help other Tanzanians. Now, because lending procedures was followed, the same procedures must be followed in paying back.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. Welcome back, and in international news. For the first time in nearly 3.5 months, the United States has recorded fewer than 1,000 deaths in a day from COVID-19, according to Johns Hopkins University. In the last 24 hours, 749 people died from the coronavirus, far below the peak of 4,473 deaths recorded on January 12th, according to the data. The daily U.S. death toll has not been below with the 1,000 mark since November 29th, when 822 people died in a 24-hour period. Moving on, a few days after the Ministry of Agriculture in Kenya banned maize from Uganda due to aflatoxin contamination claims, traders along the border between the two countries have asked the government of Kenya to allow the prohibited maize consignments into the country, as the situation has had negative impact on their businesses.
On the 5th, we received a notice that maize was banned. We had not been notified earlier about this.
Watu wa Kenya, watu wake, kwa sababu ni pesa zetu ziko Uganda.
Doesn't care for the people of Kenya because it is as will be losing money.
The Ministry of Trade, Transport, Industry and Tourism in Burundi has banned maize and maize flour imports for 6 months, as from 8th March this year, due to toxins found in the maize which are harmful to humans.
The Ministry of Trade would like to announce to dealers and consumers of maize flour that we've seen a high increase of exports of maize and maize flour, which is substandard. This could be a health hazard.
Mwaka 2021.
Killings of the elderly in Kilifi County along the coast of Kenya have continued to increase. The elderly people are killed by people who accuse them of being witches. There have been 60 such deaths of elderly people since the start of this year.
Rekodi ya polisi ya kuonyesha kwamba wazee 60 waliuliwa na watoto wao, waliuliwa na jamaa zao.
There is police record that shows that 60 elders were killed by their children and relatives. The killings have decreased quality of life. Because of this, elders are the ones who have assets. Once they perish, killings continue within families.
Na shida kubwa ambayo inafanya hawa ndugu zetu wanazidi kukata watu.
Killings continue because people fear to be witnesses in such cases. And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly after the break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
And in business news tonight, President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, has directed the Ministry of Finance to stop entering into agreements which do not concern them and instead should look for funds for development projects. We have agreed that all new contracts must be dealt with respective parties. The Treasury will focus on all financial matters. This must be made very clear because there is a tendency of a Treasury to enter into all contracts. The government has a lot of things to implement according to election manifesto, but instead efforts were made on matters that are non-profitable.
Kuna tabia ya hazina kutaka kuingia mikataba yote.
Mfumo huu kama nilivyoeleza awali ifikapo mwezi wa 4.
In April, we shall have a soft launch of Zan Malipo, a system that will be used in collecting revenues. Rukwa Region Commissioner Joachim Wangabo has assured farmers in the region of a market for their crops, as many countries which are big crop producers have been affected by the coronavirus pandemic, and that farmers should use the opportunity to sell their crops to such countries.
Currently, there is coronavirus, so those of us who can farm must farm and produce a high yield. Even if we put a heap of sand, the people will have nowhere to pass, so the road to be constructed will be a real solution.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lynn.
Welcome back, and in sports news. The national boxing team and Ngome military boxing team have conducted a joint training in preparation for the Open Boxing Championship, with the coach of the national team saying he expects to get more boxers in the competition, which starts on 27th of March.
Mashindano yao kwa sababu ni mashindano ya wazi, inatafutwa timu ya taifa.
There are open championships that are aiming at finding a national team. Already there are players who played for the national team before. They will be fighting to recover their positions. That is why these tournaments are played by any person.
Mashindano ya wazi kuna wachezaji ambao wenginewe hawapo kwenye timu ya taifa.
There are players who did not play at the national team. When they participate in such tournaments, it is easy for us to come up with good quality team and players.
The president of Tanzania Basketball Federation, TBF, Fares Magesa, has called on stakeholders and scout for talents in schools by starting competitions and construct basketball grounds.
I am calling on parents to allow your children to play and even support with sports gears. And that is also going out to teachers. Allow pupils to play during the sports time. May everybody be responsible in this. The aim is to give opportunity for our children to play, and for us it is our responsibility to ensure that construction of sports grounds are completed. I directed that this place should have everything to allow people to refresh.
Paris Saint-Germain have ruled Neymar out of the second leg of their last 16 Champions League tie against Barcelona. Here's more on the story.
The Brazil forward missed the first leg against his former side, which PSG won 4-1 with thigh injury. PSG on loan Everton striker Moise Kean will also be absent, as he is self-isolating because of coronavirus. Neymar helped the French champions reach their first Champions League final last August and has scored 12 in 17 competitive fixtures this season.
And Joachim Löw will step down from his role as Germany manager after the summer's European Championships. Here's more on the story.
The 61-year-old has been in charge of his country's national team since replacing Jürgen Klinsmann in 2006. He had a contract until the 2022 World Cup but approached the German Football Association to end it early. Following the World Cup success in Brazil, Löw guided Germany to the semi-finals of Euro 2016, where they were beaten by hosts France. Then came under pressure after his side went out at the group stage of the 2018 World Cup.
And that's what item ends on News Bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.
Watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Tarehe 11 Machi 2021 ni siku ya figo duniani. Kauli mbiu ya maadhimisho kwa mwaka huu inasema, ishi salama na ugonjwa wa figo. Hapa Tanzania maadhimisho haya yatafanyika kwa kuelimisha jamii kupitia vyombo vya habari mbalimbali vikiwemo vile vya mitandao ya kijamii. Waziri wa Afya, Maendeleo ya Jamii, Jinsia, Wazee na Watoto, Mheshimiwa Dorothy Gwajima ataongea na wananchi kupitia vyombo vya habari tarehe 10 mwezi wa 3 2021.
Ugonjwa wa figo unaathiri 7% ya Tanzania na idadi ya wagonjwa hawa imekuwa ikiongezeka kwa kasi kubwa, ikiashiria ukubwa wa tatizo hili hapa nchini. Kazi kubwa ya figo ni kutoa vitu visivyohitajika ndani ya mwili, na visipoondolewa vinabaki kwa wingi mwilini na huwa sumu. Figo pia huimarisha mifupa, huimarisha wingi wa damu na huweka sawa kiwango cha shinikizo la damu. Dalili za figo kushindwa kazi ni pamoja na kukosa au kupungua kiasi cha mkojo kwa siku, kuvimba mwili mzima kuanzia uso, tumbo na miguu, mwili kuchoka sana na hata wakati mwingine kupoteza fahamu, kuwashwa kwa mwili, mwili kupata michubuko kwa urahisi, maumivu ya kifua na kupumua kwa shida. Miongoni mwa sababu zinazochangia magonjwa ya figo ni uzito wa kupindukia, uvutaji wa sigara au matumizi ya bidhaa nyingine za tumbaku, unywaji wa pombe, kutofanya mazoezi, kunywa dawa kiholela, hasa dawa za kupunguza maumivu kama jamii ya diclofenac na dawa za asili ambazo hazijathibitishwa viwango. Aidha, magonjwa ya kisukari na shinikizo la damu ni magonjwa yanayoongoza kwa kusababisha matatizo ya figo. Kujikinga na magonjwa ya figo, zingatia yafuatayo: fanya mazoezi kwa dakika 30 angalau mara 3 kwa wiki. Epuka uzito uliozidi na uzito uliokithiri, yaani kiriba tumbo. Kula matunda na mboga kila siku. Punguza matumizi ya chumvi na mafuta. Kunywa maji mengi angalau lita 2 kwa siku. Epuka kuvuta sigara au matumizi ya bidhaa nyingine za tumbaku. Usinywe pombe kupita kiasi. Epuka kutumia dawa kiholela, hasa dawa za kupunguza maumivu kama jamii ya diclofenac na dawa za asili ambazo hazijathibitishwa viwango.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na Wizara ya Afya, Maendeleo ya Jamii, Jinsia, Wazee na Watoto kupitia Idara ya Kinga, Kitengo cha Elimu ya Afya kwa Umma na Mpango wa Taifa wa Kuzuia na Kudhibiti Magonjwa Yasiyoambukiza kwa kushirikiana na wadau wa magonjwa ya figo duniani, na kuletwa kwenu na ITV na Radio 1.
What do animal conservation groups, digital payment systems, and a Ghanaian artist have in common? Well, believe it or not, they all can help to protect the environment. More on that coming up on the show. I'm Neota Igbe in Lagos. COVID-19 may be dominating much of our life right now, but we still need to care for the environment. Right, Sandra?
That is right, Neota, and a warm welcome from Miss Sandra Twinovideo here in Kampala, Uganda. State-line data shows that during the lockdown, the air quality has improved in many African cities, but wildlife is still suffering. Animals especially have been the biggest losers in this crisis. Poaching has increased in many of the wildlife reserves. We'll talk about this shortly, and here's a quick look at some of the stories we'll be looking at today. We visit Rwanda, where the government has introduced steps to start phasing out banknotes. We also see how military training grounds can actually promote conservation. And we meet the Ghanaian artist who's using his artworks to call for greater protection of our seas. It is a well-established fact that rhino horn is essentially made up of the same substance as a human fingernail, but it continues to sell for astronomical prices, especially in East Asia, where it is considered to have healing power.